Hey there, everybody. My name is Abdurrahman Samo Sambrano, and I am here to talk to you guys about e-waste. So, e-waste is the disposal of technological waste. So, things like computers, iPhones, vacuums, anything that is electronically powered is considered e-waste. The difference between regular waste and e-waste that is so important is that for e-waste, we use a lot of advanced technology in it. So not only do we have very precious metals in that stuff, but there are also dangerous chemicals and acids in there that would be harmful to the environment if it got out. The reason why this is a worldwide issue is I'll further on explain it further, but because of the lack of regulations of e-waste in specific countries and including our countries, it's becoming a problem and danger to not only the environment, but to people as well. So why has e-waste become a big issue? So the biggest thing is poor management. So because there is not enough regulations all around the world for e-waste, it has become a dangerous thing for for basically anyone who is around the area of e-waste. This also gives us to like danger of how we deal with it, which leads to lack of awareness because most of us don't know that we're supposed to uh, give these things away and like properly dispose of them instead of just throwing them in the garbage. So if a person ever throws even such things as batteries into the garbage and it lands into a landfill, it could actually do a significant harm to the environment. International inequalities is that so countries that have a lot of, let's say, wealth and a lot of e-waste, they will ship them off to other countries where there is less regulations, just so it's an easier way to get rid of it. It's like out of sight, out of mind, which is obviously a horrible concept. Then human health, because of the chemicals and the things in the air um, and the e-waste that becomes part of the lives of certain communities that are surrounded by e-waste, it affects their health as well. Then, of course, there's pollution where the chemicals and the acids get into the runoff of e-waste, and that will eventually lead to a body of drinking water that a community uses, which will can cause some serious harm, especially to susceptible organisms like frogs that lay eggs that have permeable eggs. Then the old electrical and electronic equipment, or the EEE lifestyle, is the idea of Americans where it's like, oh, we need to have the newest technology, we need to have the best thing, so let's just throw the old one away, even though it's completely usable right now. So that idea and that keep throwing away, getting it back, throwing away, getting it back, all that process is causing an extreme amount of e-waste that people don't even think about because like any American that is, let's say, like middle class, they usually get a new phone every year. That means that every year you are throwing a phone away. You could be also throwing a video game console or a computer, etc., etc. And this all stacks up because if every middle class citizen in America does this, that means that there is going to be like 13.4 million phones of e-waste to e-waste. So if disposed correctly, a large chunk of the technology, so the e-waste, will actually be recycled because there's a lot of precious and easily recyclable metals. It's not like plastic where it takes a lot of energy and it's actually cost ineffective. It's actually cost effective to recycle most technology. So this is extremely critical because it helps us not mine as much, which will reduce mining pollution, which is an extreme problem. And also it's going to help regenerate e-waste basically. Then to pollutants, so or yes, and then whatever isn't recyclable, so all the chemicals and acids in there can also be properly disposed of in a landfill that won't seep through, because regular landfills don't always have it prepared and it might break through the like protocols that it has. For example, like it has layers of plastic which the chemical can actually eat through. Then you go to pollutants, and it's the similar idea. It's like properly disposing of the pollutants and the chemicals in areas where they won't get free and harm the environment, the soil, or the water. Um, the sorting process is basically only what happens if you properly dispose of e-waste, where they will sort through the metals and all of that to put it in its proper category so it actually gets recycled when it needs to. And then reusing and disposal is what I talked about before, of reusing whichever metal is necessary and stuff like that. Yeah. Then how to help deter the e-waste issue locally. So first of all, you need to educate yourself and others with this. The biggest problem with the e-waste, especially in the US, because in the US we actually have proper laws to properly dispose of e-waste, even though there is some terrible loopholes where you send it to other countries. For the most part, we properly recycle it because it's cost efficient to recycle. So if you guys go to a hometown place where there's a certified e-waste recycler, so this is usually any technology store. For example, where I live, which is Kaneohe, we can go to the Kailua like area, and the Target actually does e-waste recycling, and um, uh, places like Best Buy and that stuff also are certified e-waste recyclers, because any place that sells technology has to be willing to recycle it as well. And so when you know that, and this is including batteries, you should not be throwing batteries away into the trash can. That is a very big thing that like people don't think of because they're so small and portable, but you're really not supposed to do that. And then you learn these things and you tell others about these things, and it actually becomes a big effect because they'll tell other people, and then all of you guys are correctly following what you need to, and it becomes a very healthy habit for the community. And if the entire community is doing it, then you guys are doing the most you can, honestly. Final one is how the e-waste issue needs to be taken care of internationally. So obviously, a good thing that you can do is to um, talk to your politicians, try to get a vote to like do stricter laws, because the biggest thing that happens in the United States is unfair flow with e-waste. So it's what I was talking about, where they send it to less developed countries to get rid of e-waste. It's an easier way to do it, and they give the place where they're dumping the e-waste money. So it's like if they want to send it to Ghana or China or India, they pay them for it and they accept it. And then these communities have risen from these places, which are called, it's like basically e-waste communities, where people will forage where the e-waste dumps are to try and find valuable metals to sell to to like have a livable wage. And it's a awful concept because it's sifting through landfills with toxic chemicals that the United States or Europe or China didn't want to deal with, in return for selling it back to them and basically encouraging the cycle while harming their lives. And obviously, it's not these communities' faults because this is one of the few ways that they can actually survive. This has become like part of their natural way of life. Fault is ours for endangering their lives just to have a livable, healthy, not even healthy, a livable life. Then, um, so you have to get stricter laws, especially in the US, about doing things like this, and in Europe, of course. Then e-waste, with pollution, it's the same idea that you have to properly dispose of it in your own country. You shouldn't be able to ship it somewhere else. And then discarding and forgetting is what we do, where we just give it to someone else and forget about it. We have to be more accountable of our things. And finally, the WEE is, I'm pretty sure it's located in the continent of Africa, where it's trying to educate and basically unallow um, the United States and big rich countries like that to send their e-waste there and protect their communities because of it. So supporting them would also be a helpful way. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.